Welcome to day 2 of the 3-day challenge. So today is all about designing your life, and today is one of the most important days in the challenge. So I'm just going to quickly mute everyone just so that we just don't hear the rustling in the background, which is all good. Okay, so let's get straight in today. So we're going to talk about like design, but what I mean by design is really expanding what it is that you'd love to do with your life. And as I say that, I'm sure some of you are going, oh, I'm not even sure what that means, and others will have a pretty good idea of, you know, the direction that you're going. Either way, this is going to be totally relevant. However, before we do address the design, just a quick recap, because yesterday I just wanted to just reconfirm that yesterday we talked about how beliefs and values, and how when these are working together, you are an unstoppable force. But when there's friction between these two things, oh, this is where people go, I just can't seem to get ahead, or I just can't seem to make this work, or things seem to be going a bit slower than I had have thought, or, you know, any time that you're sort of looking at your external circumstances and going, oh, this isn't really the way that I wanted it. There's a really good chance that it's your belief systems and your subconscious that's undermining you. Don't worry, we're going to address this again today and go into this in a lot more detail. But that's just a quick recap. Now, in the 8-week program, the 8-week mastermind program, so I'm in Bali, so if you can hear like scooters and horns in the background, just, you know, that's just what happens. I'm next to like a little alleyway, so I've just heard the mark up. So the next thing is as well though, is when it comes to knowing, like in the mastermind program to accelerate your life, we really go into values very deep. What I do find is often when people are very new to this work, they think that they know what their values are, but rarely do people come to me and they're absolutely certain. So don't worry if you're going, oh, I kind of know what's important to me. The deeper we can go into that, the greater your chances of actually, not greater chances, let's just say absolutely. When you know this, you are fast tracking your way to live a life that feels absolutely satisfying and on purpose. And if you're not there, you're able to see what's getting in the way and where the resistance is on your own, without always requiring help from someone like me, or, you know, many of the other people out there that do this kind of work. So what this does is, when you know your values, you're empowering yourself. You really are empowering yourself. The other thing as well is, when you do know your values, you are increasing your ability to really speak, you know, when you communicate with others, to really communicate from a place of connection, from a place of win-win. So if there's any communication issues in your life right now, whether it be in the workplace, whether it be with your close relationships, understanding your values is the very first step to rectifying that situation, hands down. You know, before you go and see, you know, like mediators or marriage counselors or any of that, this is the number one step. And I've seen people absolutely transform their close and distant relationships once they've really understood this. So if any of that, if anything has gone off for you right now, I would encourage you to book a discovery call so we can chat about that in a little bit more detail. So when we're talking about stress, the other thing as well is that the reason that addressing stress is so important before we do design your life is because to try and design your life when you are feeling stressed is kind of like deciding to renovate your kitchen, and you're sitting down choosing designs and colors and your laundry's on fire. Like, you just wouldn't do it, okay? You just simply wouldn't do it. Even if you were able to, like, with willpower, force yourself to sit down, it would be very distracting, because the thing is that we are designed that when we are stress is designed so that we take care of the immediate threat. You're not going to override your natural biology, so don't even try. Rather than trying to override and push past your natural biology, how about we just accept that that's how we're built and work with it? Much nicer way to live your life. Does that make sense to everyone? Those that are, yeah, okay. And be honest, have you ever tried to sort of, you know, go against, you know, and do things, you know, when you're really stressed? I know that I have, and oh my God, it does your head in. It really does do your head in. So don't worry, I found a better way. Okay. So when we're talking about stress, the reason that this is so relevant is because we are essentially hardwired to, as I mentioned before, to address what is stressful. Now, where this comes into values is that anytime our immediate values are challenged, it will put us into a stress response if we don't have a greater awareness of how this serves us. So that is a good line to write down. Anytime we are stressed, it's because there is a threat to our value systems, and we are wired to address that unless we have seen and understood the bigger picture of how this fits in. Now, the good news is understanding the bigger picture is simply a matter of asking yourself a different set of questions. It is that simple, okay? When you know what your values are, when you know what your goals, what your vision, your mission, your purpose is, and you can ask yourself a different set of questions, you can release stress like quickly. Stress that could potentially sit there for decades, I have seen unravel before my eyes in a matter of seconds. Do you know, I mean, I can't, unless you've seen this, it's really hard to put this into words, but when you watch somebody get this, it's almost like there's this ripple of gratitude that just flows through the air. It hits everyone in the room. When this happens, when somebody gets it, when somebody can see the perfection, it ripples throughout the room. It's quite extraordinary. In fact, I remember one day I was sitting in a cafe with a client. We were having a coffee, and I shared this awareness with her for the first time, and she was like, what even is this? And I got her to see the perfection. We were sitting there, and she was feeling incredibly challenged. She was traveling in Scotland at the time. She was feeling incredibly challenged by her partner. And at the moment that she saw the perfection, that at the exact moment that she was being challenged by her partner, her sister was absolutely supporting her with everything that she had. She actually just burst into tears, and she's sitting there going, what's just happened? I mean, you've seen the perfection, like it's released. And she said, I said, do you still feel stressed in the moment? And she said, no. Like, how did that happen? Beautiful thing to witness and to experience. First and foremost, to experience, really. So these are some of the things that we do talk about, and that you do get to experience in the mastermind program as well. So to look at stress is one of the main questions. If you are stressed right now and you're looking at designing your life. Now, today's challenge, when you do go to do today's challenge, if for whatever reason the words are not flowing, okay, if you are feeling blocked, if you're finding it really hard to put pen to paper, it will be one of two things. You're either in a stress response, or you have beliefs that are undermining you actually living your purpose. It's simply just going to be one of those two things. It's not a complicated thing. So the other thing to look at, and hey, there's a few more that have just jumped on. Hi, Lynette. Hi, Paula. Thanks. Oh, and Lorenzo. Thank you. And Ruth, thanks so much for jumping on. There's someone else, but it just says iPhone, so I'm not sure who that is. So there are three fantasies as well that do undermine when we're setting our goals, when we're setting our vision, when we're looking at what we would love to do with our life, there are three fantasies that I see consistently come up, where we think that, oh yeah, I've got this goal and I'm clear on what I want, and then it just kind of never really happens. And in fact, not only does it not happen, but we start attracting like crazy, chaotic circumstances that are totally undermining our efforts. Has anybody ever experienced that? Has anyone ever experienced that? Just crazy shit starts happening and you're going, what? I was so clear and I was so inspired yesterday, and now this has happened, and it's all turned to poo, and I don't really know what to do. Let me share this with you. This is going to make massive sense to you. Okay, so the first fantasy, and you may want to write these down as I'm going through, the very first fantasy is that it's impossible. And what I mean by that is that it's one-sided, that you're looking to just seek a pleasure without the pain. You're looking for just the support without the challenge, okay? And hey, Amy, thanks for jumping on. So anytime we're looking for a goal that is one-sided, where we just want the good without the bad, we just want the result without putting in the effort required, you are setting yourself up for a fail, okay? This is the universe is in perfect balance. Our perception isn't, okay? The universe is always in perfect balance. You can't escape universal laws. You cannot escape the perfection of the universe, that everything is in perfect harmony. So whenever we set a goal, so a great example of that would be, you know, setting the goal to lose 10 kilos, but you don't want to put in the effort required with adjusting your diet to be healthier or doing any exercise. Another example would be, you know, setting the goal of, making an extra $50,000 or $100,000 this year, or whatever that figure is for you, and then having, and then not actually putting in the extra work and the extra hours required. All of these are one-sided goals. Attracting a partner but refusing to go out on dates, like all of these things. And I see this happen. I do see this happen. And one of the biggest fantasies, that perpetuates this myth, which I see in the new age world all the time, is that old saying, oh, if it's meant to be, it will happen. Come on, be honest. Has anyone said that before? I know I have. I said that, I used to say that years ago. Yeah, if it's meant to be, it will happen. Can I please just challenge you on that? If it's meant to be, it's up to me. Like, change your thinking around that. Like, you have the power. You are empowered. You are empowered beings. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. Now, in saying that, I don't want to completely dismiss that, that saying, because if it's meant to be, it will happen, does allow us to detach from the outcome. But that's if we've already put the first steps in place. Most of the people that I see that are, saying this statement out loud have not done any of the groundwork. So it's simply a fantasy. It's like, rolling a dice with your future. It's certainly not the way I want to live my life. Okay, so that's the first fantasy. Now the second fantasy, and this is also another big one, is that it's improbable, that your goal is improbable. And what I mean by that is that it's not in alignment with who you are. It's not in alignment with your values. And it doesn't truly and honestly resonate with you. Now, why would somebody set a goal that's not in alignment with your highest values? Oh, I see it every single day. And the number one reason is subordination, that we do what we think is going to please other people, that we want to gain their approval. Okay, so anybody in your life that you secretly want to gain their approval, you are likely to set goals that are their goals. Okay. I mean, we see this all the time, we see this, like, I know I've got a lot of nieces and nephews, and I know a lot of kids sort of around the, year 12, just leaving school, around that. And the amount of kids that go and do, begin a uni degree because it's what their parents want for them. And, they rarely see it out. And if they do, they're friggin' miserable. But that's an example of somebody setting a goal because of others' expectations. Now, although you might not be a school leaver and, about to embark in a medical degree because it's what your parents want, we still do it. We still set goals and do things because we think, our partners will approve of it. Our kids will approve of it. Our friends, our boss, our whoever. We do this. So catch yourself out on this. Ask yourself, am I doing this for me? One of the ways that you can also check this off is, am I doing this for me, or am I just doing this because I want the accolades, I want the applause, I want the credit for it? Or is it something that if nobody noticed, it would still be fulfilling and sustainable to me? That's how you check that one off. Okay. So that is the second fantasy, why you are potentially undermining your own goals. Now, the third one is that it's unstrategized. And what I mean by this is that you've got no strategy behind it. It's not chunked down. Now, when it comes to a strategy, you don't need to know every part of the puzzle. You don't know where everything is going to fit. But what you do need to know is roughly where you're going, which we'll get to in a moment. And the next few steps. You need the next few steps of the strategy. It's no different to if you were walking down a pathway at nighttime and all you had was a flashlight or a torch. Hi, Nikki. Thanks for jumping on. If you're walking down and hey, Sonia, thanks for jumping on. Nice to see you again. If you were walking down a pathway at nighttime and all you had was a torch, you don't need to know every single step on that pathway in order to get there. You just need to know that there is a pathway that is heading in the direction that you want to go, and you just need to be able to illuminate the next few steps. Your goals are the same. You don't need to know every single step. All you need to know is what the next few steps are for you that are going to get you in the direction. Does that make sense? And the reason that I say that is because so many people think that they need to know every single step before they can get going. and they go into complete overwhelm, complete anxiety attacks. I've seen this happen. I've seen people go into like complete anxiety. Oh my God, this is too scary. This is too big for me. But break it down. If it's not strategized, so if you've got no strategy, which by the way, often people do because the full strategy feels so overwhelming that they just do nothing. You know, we're funny creatures. We either go all in or all out. This will allow you to find the middle ground. It really will. So those are the three fantasies why people see people not achieving their goals and their dreams. And with tonight's challenge, I'm going to ask you to check off with your vision what these are. But I'm going to go into tonight's challenge. Oh, tonight's challenge is an absolute, it's best ever. Like best ever. You know, this is something that I have previously reserved for my high paying clients, and I'm sharing this with you. So make sure that you do tonight's challenge and share it into the group. Yeah, because look, I do hear people say that, yeah, if you put your mind to anything or stay positive, it will work out. And let's bust that myth right now, because living a life that's satisfying and fulfilling does not mean that you're always going to feel positive. There, I said it. You know, and I think that this is something that needs to be said more, because people often are of the delusion that you know, it means that you'll always feel up. It means that you'll always feel good. It doesn't. It means that you're going to feel more moments of satisfaction, more moments of inspiration, more moments of fulfillment. But you will, you know, you will still have both sides, okay? However, when you use this formula, you're not going to get stuck in there. You're going to be able to identify very quickly and move your way through it. Okay. Now, just quickly, I want to go into tonight's challenge, and I want to explain why this is so important. We're going to be looking tonight at the vision beyond the vision. Okay, and the reason that this is so important is because this will allow you this is going to allow you, better than anything that I've ever experienced, allow you to see exactly where your blocks are, Now, before I go into this, is it okay if I just share a couple of minutes about the mastermind? I've had a few people message me. I've had quite a few of you already booked discovery calls in, so book it in. If there's any part of you that wants to know more, please book that in. Now, one of the reasons that I do this week's challenge over 3 days, and as opposed to in a short, sharp 90-minute webinar, boom, it's all there, it's all done for you, is because I know through personal experience and from witnessing other people that when we're transforming, we need time to integrate. We need time to do a small step, integrate it, see how it looks and feels, you know, time to just absorb it into our mind and into our being before we can move on to the next step. That's where lasting change happens. And I'm sure that you've all had that experience of going into a weekend workshop and you come out and you're feeling amazing and you're feeling completely pumped. And then, you know, by Tuesday, you're still, you know, a little bit inspired, but by Wednesday, you're kind of back into your old habits. Has that ever happened to anyone? Happened to me. So the reason that I do this program, this Accelerate Your Best Life program over 8 weeks, is because I know that it gives you the maximum opportunity to do it in manageable pieces, to integrate it, to ask questions, have accountability, to have the support from the group. And through this program, everything that I've covered in these 3 days, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, we expand on that. We allow you to clear out step by step at your own pace in a way that feels right for you. We allow you to clear out all of the resistance and all of the blockages so that you can tap into that inspired vision and start living a life that is truly amazing. And I am continuously blown away by the progress that people have in these groups, like continuously blown away. You know, some of the results are absolutely phenomenal. When people get into alignment, it's like, you know, when you're out of alignment and crazy, chaotic stuff comes towards you and you're like, where is this coming? Well, the opposite is true when you are in alignment. Crazy good stuff starts happening where you just go, wow. And you are in absolute awe that the universe is just providing for you everything that you need. it's such a beautiful place to live your life. And all of a sudden the process becomes really exciting and really fun, not something that you feel like you're pushing and grinding and have to have willpower in order to achieve. So if there's any part of you that resonates, if there's any part of you that would love to know more, please book in a discovery call. You've got nothing to lose other than half an hour of your time where you can find out more and see how this is actually going to work for you and your current situation. I want to make sure that you're a good fit. Otherwise, I'd just put a sign up link, but I want to make sure that you're a really good fit and that I'm certain that I can help you. I only take people into this program that I feel certain that I can help. Okay, so tonight's challenge, which is the vision beyond the vision. Now, the best analogy for this is if you were, let's just say that you're hiking one day and you see a cliff face and you don't know what's beyond that cliff face. If you are a normal and reasonable person, I would assume that you're going to tread very carefully and with caution and quite slowly as you approach that cliff face. Would you agree? Is that's how you'd normally approach a cliff if you don't know what's beyond it? However, if you knew that on the other side of that cliff face, if you'd already walked up to it and had a look and you saw, oh, it looks like a cliff, but there's actually just a small drop of about that much on the other side, and I can actually just run over it and keep running. Would you agree that if you already knew what was coming up and that there was just a small step and that then you could keep on hiking, you would be more inclined to, if you were already running or walking fast, you'd be more inclined just to keep going at your same pace. Does that sound reasonable? Yeah. So it's the same with your goals, okay? If you've set a goal and you don't know what's beyond it, your subconscious is automatically going to go, okay, we know that we want this goal. Your subconscious isn't there to help you achieve your dreams. Your subconscious is designed to keep you safe, okay? Your subconscious doesn't care whether you live an inspired and a fulfilling life. Your soul does, but your subconscious does not give a shit. It's purely there to keep you safe. Purely there to keep you safe. So when we can expand your vision and look at your vision beyond your vision, really what we're doing is letting your subconscious know that there is not a big drop off. It is not scary. There's nothing to be feared. It's just a tiny step that you can't see right now, and then you can keep going on your way. And when you do that, it unlocks something amazing inside you. And all of a sudden, this goal that felt this big comes back down into a small, manageable size, and you can race towards it because you know what's beyond it. So tonight's challenge is for you to spend some time journaling on your vision. I want you to write down with crystal clarity what your vision is. What would you love to do with your life? You know, what would you love to do with the next year, with the next couple of years? What is it that you would love to do that feels really inspiring for you? And nobody is going to have to remind you. You're just going to love doing it each and every day. What is that thing for you? It might be you just expanding on what you've already got. It might be you totally changing your circumstances. It doesn't matter. Then what I want you to do is the vision beyond the vision. And how you do this is you just sit there and you relax into it. Close your eyes and you just imagine that you've already achieved everything that you'd just written down. You imagine that you've already achieved that. You're already at the end of that, that vision. And you're sitting there and you're looking around at your external circumstances and you're going, wow, like I did this. What's next? What is next for you? When you've achieved that vision, what's beyond that for you? When you've achieved those goals that you've already set out for yourself, then what are you going to do with your life? Write that down. That is where the gold lies for you, like the absolute gold. Now, when I did this a couple of weeks ago, I had somebody book a discovery call and they said, do you know what? I thought that I was crystal clear on my goals, but I cannot do the vision beyond the vision. I cannot do it. Like, what is going on? And when we took a look at it, what we could see, and it was really, really easy to pinpoint this, is that there were part of the goals that were not in alignment with her highest values. Okay, so the second fantasy, it didn't need massive changing, but there was some tweaking that needed to happen in there so she could make sure that it was in absolute alignment. And as soon as she did that, all of a sudden, it's like her mind just unlocked it and she just went writing. She just got to work and she started writing and she could see with crystal clarity what the vision beyond the vision was. And funnily enough, I just got a text message from her yesterday saying, you're not going to believe this. Like, I don't even know where this is coming from. My business is absolutely going nuts. like in a matter of weeks. She just said, I've got more work than I know what to do with. So I love getting those text messages. So exciting. So, okay, so look, to wrap that up, you know, just keep in mind that, you know, trying to set goals when you're stressed is like trying to renovate your kitchen when your laundry's on fire. It's just crazy. You wouldn't do it. So, you know, the same applies with your life. Making sure that you're in that centered place, first of all, is going to be absolute magic for you. And part of the way that I do show you step by step in the Accelerate Your Best Life 8-week program is to look at, and one of the questions I do get you to ask is, these stressful situations, when you know how they're serving you and you ask, how is this actually a benefit to me? You can start to transform the way that you see things and your perspective on the situation. That's really all we're doing when we change your perspective on things. And I think Wayne Dyer once said this, is when we change the way we look at things, the things that we look at change. And it is absolutely true. So I'd love you to ask yourself right now, what would your life look like right now if you did just start to align yourself up? And I hope by the end of today, you really are starting to get a sense of what alignment looks like. I know that people are often talking about it. You know, you've got to get into alignment, but they don't really talk about how to do it. Okay, so very simply, just a quick recap. Align your beliefs. Make sure that there's no beliefs undermining your goals. Make sure that you're not stressed, okay? And stress can also be a past trauma that you keep living and you don't even know that you're living it. So if there's any baggage in the background, that is also classified as a stress, okay? Any past traumas in the background. Then ensure that your goals are are not fantasies. Make sure that they are balanced in that you're willing to embrace both pain and pleasure, not just always, you know, you don't just want the good without putting in some of the work required. That they are in alignment with your highest values, and that you do have a strategy, at least for the next couple of steps. And then expand your vision beyond your vision, and wow, you will be an unstoppable force. So that is tonight's challenge. Tomorrow, I'm going to give you a crystal clear checklist on how to live a life that is on purpose. So tomorrow is one not to be missed. Make sure that you catch tomorrow's call, because this checklist is going to be absolutely invaluable. Make sure that you've got your pen ready so that you can write it down. This is something that you absolutely will want to be there for. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here on day 2 of the 3-day challenge. I hope you loved being here as much as I did. I will open it up now. If anyone does have any questions, by all means, unmute yourself, drop it into the chat box, or more importantly, book yourself a discovery call. It could be it could be an extraordinary half an hour that could change your life. So book that in and let us have a chat and see how this work could actually help you get where you want to go at a cracking pace. So does anyone have any questions before we wrap up today's meeting? Everyone's good? Okay. You're either completely confused or I've covered that really thoroughly. I guess we'll find out. So good luck with tonight's challenge, everyone. Worth doing. And it will, you might need to do a couple of pages of writing to actually get it. So thank you so much. I really love having you all here, and I look forward to seeing you all for tomorrow, day 3 final day of the 3-day challenge. Take care, everyone. Bye.